But you gotta have money to do everything now.
Yeah.
You gotta jump on the horse and ride out there and do things.
Yeah. It's because your mum used to talk to you a lot in your language. Where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in Tibooburra and then I was raised in Silverton, where I grew up there. Went to school there, lived most of my life there. Then I left, sort of went working, and then I worked for Dr. Elia. They were both doctors, him and her. And then after that I sort of got married and had all my children, 7 children. And we sort of went out in the station, Maliangri Station, where we were out there for a good while and most of the kids grew up a bit. Then when I lost my mother, I travelled back to up to my other brother, Will, where my husband got a job up there working on the roads, and then he went out to Retreat Station. And I was giving the kids school age one's correspondence before we shifted back to Broken Hill. Then when I lost my husband, I sort of took on doing foster care. Yeah, which was really good, was something for me to do. And then I took sick, so I had to give that up. Then when I got better, I went back to TAFE then, and that's where I got my certificates for teaching Aboriginal art.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. We opened a cultural centre up in Broken Hill. We only just not long started, and this is where I'm going to really teach the dairy art and what they represent, the markings and that of the artwork and what the background represents, like it representing the land and different colours of the earth, which you notice. So it's all based on my teaching and learning the other ones that want to learn and let them know more about the towers, because they're sort of left in a corner where people don't really know much about them. And I think this has sort of given us a big opportunity to get out and really let people know what it's all about. And what they represent is a marking post, like if they got the road signs and all that. Well, if our people was travelling, they'd put that stick into the ground, and if people come looking for them now, the tribes, well, they'd knew exactly which place to go because they'd placed that marker in the ground. So that's what the towers are really all about, and marking the names of the place and all that. It was great. A lot of our history is based on German missionary people. Yeah, they were the ones where my grandmother sort of grew up with, the German missionary people. She could sing in German. She can sing Christmas carols in German. She used to sit up and sing to us. My mother was born at that Canalpana mission. Before that time, before the European people came to here, it was a big trading place. Kalpanina mission was, before the mission started there. But it was a big trading place for the Aboriginal people. A lot of the seeds and towers and that and all the artefacts that they had there, a lot of that was sent back to Germany. And a lot of it was put in the museum in Adelaide here. Everything that we had was documented by the German missionary people. Land was something really great for me because it sort of, I've never was sort of back on this country, but going back on there gave me a lot of inspiration and also a lot of things that you know, you could talk about that and see the land where our people sort of once lived on, and all the artefacts and things that we found, and you know, to show that, you know, our people was on that land. It was really great. Kanina, this where one of the ones we were out, where they were saying that in the early days for the war and that they got most of the Aboriginal people for breaking in the horses, and one of them blokes that was there doing that was my old grandfather, and they used to break in the horses and then they'd give them to the army. So it was just a lot of working with horses there in that time of that when the war was sort of started there. It was a very dusty and dry country, but when you stop and think about the land, that land, like you look at today and you think, how could people live on that land? But then when you look back and say, well, these white people wasn't on this land then, so that land flourished. There was plenty of trees and plenty of water, that they didn't have to worry about most of those things because it was there. And how they looked after land, like when they taken any food or plants and things out of that ground, they'd put that piece back, so that, and then when that ground finished, they'd burn that ground off and then they'd move on. So by the time they come back, it was, you know, ready to restart again. So they were never out of sort of food and that. But our people mainly lived with getting fish and all that, because I was more or less in the Cooper Basin, and all that big ovens that they used to have. Some of it was that high off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, unreal. It was really an eye-opener, you know. Hear people talk about it, but seeing it for real is a different sort of thing. Really, really let you stop and really think. And there was not only one or two fires, you'd go along further and you'd find, you know, and they were big ones.
Yeah.
And mainly their camp areas where they camped and that. You'd find a lot of the old stone dishes and things like that they used for grinding their seeds to make flour and stuff. Like Canalpina they started from, that's where the mission was. But the Dairy people sort of lived on the Cooper bases, where you find it and goes right back this side of Maree, their boundary is. Yep. Mompiawi, right back down there.
Yeah.
Mm.
And what's Dairy's totem?
Well, mainly a lot of people say it's, we say it's a carpet snake. There's all different, everyone's got your different totem. Like you could have carpet snake, there's the desert rat, that's in our area, and the bat and the rat, I think it is. See, like in those times, if you couldn't marry into your, or that totem was a totem of respect, so if that was your totem, you could not eat that. You respect it.
What about your mother? You wanna?
Oh, well, my mother was born on that mission, Canalpina. But she didn't really sort of talk much about it, you know, when we were young.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe because of the hard times that they had. You know, travelling around. After the mission closed, well, they just had to go from one place to another, sort of to survive and bring the kids up. That's how my mother ended up in Tibooburra, because when they left Mompi and that, they travelled all the way around that way up to, what's that place? Out from Windora there. Yeah, Yindama was one of them. Yeah, yeah.
This big station.
Yeah.
Or do you want to say that pigeon story, Dairy pigeon story, that
Well, the
Dreamtime story?
Bronzewing pigeon is the starting of the Bronzewing pigeon was from Mompiawi Station. How the story was handed down, and it came out of a hole at Mompi, and it was wounded and losing its feather when it landed at the Woodip at Mompiawi. It travelled the Flinders Ranges, where it sort of was still losing its feather and the blood, but he circled around the pinnacles and travelled on to Tibooburra, where he spread the white gold in the quartz in that area. He died at Mount Woods, and his spirit went on to Mount Isa. We did that story as far as the border of New South Wales, and left it up to people, you know, over the border if they wanted to take that story on to Mount Isa. But it's sort of fallen mostly where minerals and stuff really is when that Dreamtime story is. The same like with our the carp, not the carp snake, the rainbow serpent. She was the mother of the earth and our creator, and now she moved her big body across the virgin plains, and as she moved, the hills became hills and the water holes became water holes. And then the land sort of flourished after that, and that's how our people survived on the land. Because the rainbow serpent was our creator of the earth.
What do you wish to pass on to the next dairy generation?
Well, hopefully I've got everything in my book and set out in my diaries and things like that, so my kids can hand it down to their kids and the generation after, so it can keep our dairy culture and that keeps going on. We thought we lost it, but now this is all happening. We've regained it, and we want to keep it alive. So by doing this is the only way that we're going to keep it going, by letting you younger ones know about our culture and what it really meant to us, and every story and that's thing, your language. And that's very important, because a lot of you don't understand our language.
Yeah.
And I think that you should know. Otherwise, if you don't know, you're not going to pass it on, and that everything's going to be lost. And it's very important that we tell our younger ones and explain things to them so they can tell their younger ones.
What are the issues you reckon and concerns about today's youth?
Today's youth, I said, that's been going on for a long time, and I think that if we'd have got in earlier and taught our kids our culture and how to show their respect to the elders, that thing might have been different today, might have helped them along the way, but they've lost their respect and learning for their culture, which hopefully that by doing all this that we're trying to do now, that we could sort of bring them back to how things was, and teach them to show that respect that, you know, that was once really ours. That's I never knew that I could even paint until I sort of started to type, and then when I got there, things just sort of all come into place with me.
To be, eh?
Mm-hmm. So everyone's got something in them to, like if they find that, I think there's a way of them finding something for them to do, you know, and take their mind off that, and teach them that once they find that, it's teaching them that they can get out there and do things. We're taken back to the land. Show them how the old people lived and what respect meant. There was a lot of respect in our families. You know, you weren't allowed to back chat your mother or anything like that. That respect was a very, very strong thing to us, and it still is today.
What, when I was little with Mum?
No, she was brought up here.
Oh,
was born
that's
that
right.
way.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Mary Jean, eh?
Yeah.
And I keep thinking, Lydia was up there anyway, but when you went up there visiting,
Nah,
you didn't.
I've only
You
been
went
Port
to
Augusta.
Quilpie, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, I went to Quilpie, yeah.
Yeah, well, you go back down. They
I
deep.
bring that one butter.
And when they, you can see it there.
Yeah.
Well, when they get the grinding stone, it's there, to grind the seed, that's leaves
What they
all
used
that
to do.
markings, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. They all found on the land. There's one big photo there of Patsy. This is the one here. See that big one?
Oh,
You see the markings on them there?
yeah.
And that's what they did, use the grinding stone to grind the seeds to make their flour and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. At Silverton. That's where I grew up. Still love going out there, brings back good memories to me. They were the good old days, I call it.
There would have been big
Like
muck in
they
the
say,
house.
kids got nothing to do these days. We had nothing to do, but we made it what we had to do. You know, we'd go walking in the hills and making them old tin rollers and making roads and things like that with them, playing with them. You made up your own thing.
But now it's safe to you. You got to lock your kids in the house.
Exactly right. Yeah, very
Your
sad.
neighbours, you know.
Mm.
But a lot of these fellas growing up, they're lost, they don't know their people, they don't know family or culture or anything.
Yeah, well, it's true. And that's what I say, it's very important. And I'm trying to get, you know, the older ones like Cousin Reenie and them, to try and get out and do this sort of thing, because if they don't get out and talk, it's not going to get across to our sort of younger people, which is very, very sad. This is my little baby here. That's
Little
Shane. That's the ones I did up for the exhibition. But I just did then the ones I did on the stand, which that big photo over there. No, that big one on the bed over there it is. That's the paintings there, but that's the towels that I made up and put them on a stand. That's where I had my exhibition in Broken Hill.
You get shots of stuff.
It's my grandson there, Sean. The other grandson, Dwayne. Just in there again. Just in there again. Yeah, again. Again, that's mainly the 21st, that's my other son. Granddaughter. My little grandson, that's my granddaughter. There's my daughter there, me, and her 2 little ones, and 2 grandsons. It's the one where we went up doing early evidence. It's one of the big water holes that was there. On Mumpy. Just what they say, there's a red hop bush, but this one is the original hop bush that wasn't sort of brought in from, by Europeans. It was original hop bush, and there's 2 different types. That's the original one from the land, and there's another one that grows wild. It's my grandson. My sister showed him how to get ngulli, that's gum, and that's what they're testing out there. That's him here helping his auntie make Johnny cake. There's another one of them there, making Johnny cakes or damper. And that's my son there with a native smoke. It's not marijuana.
Bush one.
Bush. That's my photos of me brothers. That's us back on the land. We were going up to Canopola Mission that time and having a look around up that way. That's my cousin there and her husband, which Sarah had already interviewed. Yeah. That's her brother there. That's me and my old sisters.
Who's who?
Hey? You got Auntie Nell there, me, Auntie Sylvie and Auntie Linda. Some of my family that when they come from Quilpie come down to Raganell visiting us. Then my old brothers passed on. That's me in my younger days. There's some of them wooden bowls we do. They call them coolamans. But, they use them to carry their water and food. That was a didgeridoo I did. Carved the snake on it. Jan, they were going around just getting things together for how many dairy people and all that. They made a big book up, that it's like a family tree. And she was saying it's the biggest family tree thing that they've ever done. So it's a lot of work and history put into that book, but at least it's all done for our younger generation to walk proud and tall for. I do.
When you Nyland,
Yeah. Where you born?
where you was born?
Mumpy,
Who's your mother and father?
Roddy, Kennedy,
Grandmother's name?
You know?
grandmother, old Frida, Meg.
And your grandfather?
Grandfather?
No.
grandfather.
Yeah.
Godlet Merrick.
Auntie.
Auntie, ne, who's your auntie?
Auntie.
Yeah,
Old auntie, you know.
who's your old auntie? Granny Kitty, Auntie Kitty.
Old Frida.
No, Granny Kitty.
Aye.
Sweetie.
Old. That's old auntie, isn't it?
Yeah, your old auntie, yeah.
Gertie.
What you done when you was young?
When you was
You
on
used
your
to go
horse.
riding horses?
Yeah. Riding horses.
And what
Riding
else
the
you
sheep
used to
up?
do?
I was driving the sheeps. Oh, I got sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they was going to cut my throat too.
What they thought you was a sheep, eh?
They thought you were sheep.
Yeah, they must be there.
Favourite memories? Huh?
Yeah, anyone.
And what's your partner's name? Your husband?
David Warren.
And
My first name was Kennedy. Renee Kennedy.
yep. And what's your mum and dad's name?
Rowdy Kennedy and Susie, mother.
And what's your grandparents' name?
Frida. And grandfather's Merrick.
Yep.
Not Elwood, Godliff.
Oh, yep. And how many brothers and sisters you got?
The other grandfathers too. I need the mother's grandfather and the father's grandfather. We forgot to say. So that's Granny Susie's mum and dad, eh?
Yeah.
Now what about your
What another one?
grandfather, my grandfather's mum and dad, ne? The mother too. Kennedy side, ne?
Oh, Walter Kennedy. That's my father's father.
And his mother, ne? Grandfather's mother. I did that.
Old Selma. Merrick.
Talk a bit louder.
Yeah, will you help her out then?
What?
Help her out.
That's right.
Help your sister out.
How many brothers and sisters you got?
Well, Rhonda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joan.
Yep.
Jeffrey. They're the youngest. Uncle Bob Kennedy's oldest brother in the family.
And where you lived?
And I'm the oldest sister. And we used to live Mumpy. Well, we lived at Manny first, Manny, Maine. I was born there. So we moved to Mumpy Alley Station. Father worked there. We stayed all our life there. And we come down this way then to Mari. Our father was working at the station, Mumpy Alley Station. And the mother's done the cooking job. She's a cook.
She used to cook for everyone.
Yeah, for the bosses and all. She used to cook.
Oh, yeah, a butcher there too.
And what else was he?
Yes, a butcher.
A butcher.
Yeah, our father was
Yeah,
doing
kill
butcher.
sheep.
Yeah. And what else he used to kill?
Sheep,
Yep.
hang them up, cut them.
Yeah. Yep.
And what else you used to do? You used to go out looking for feed out in the bush.
Well, we used to get the sheep out and take them back and cook them.
Oh, the sheep's out.
Rabbit.
Cook them.
You used to get kangaroo too?
Yeah, we used to get
Kangaroo, rabbit.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about fish?
Oh, they was fat
Rabbit
too,
and fish
rabbits.
and them ducks. Duck eggs and geese eggs. Fish. Remember? Just
Oh, swan eggs.
swan eggs.
Yeah, swan eggs.
Nana Winnie?
Who's the oldest again?
Philip.
Yeah, Philip.
And the second?
Janet. Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Third?
Edna.
Fourth?
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
Fifth?
Brenda.
And
And
Andy.
sixth?
Andy.
Andy.
Yep.